Hello, class. Tech Sergeant Scrope here. My presentation to you today is going to be on leadership. Just a quick background. In 2008, I was employment of a company called Estee Lauder Companies. I was a distribution supervisor. I was in charge of supervising 40 plus individuals in what we call pick pack lines. Just picture a big warehouse, um, long lines, and on each side of the lines are products. The employee's main job was to pick the products, put them in the box, send the box down the line. My employment at the time felt that resources and inventory were being wasted and wanted to come up with new ways to improve productivity and employee morale to foster better work relationships between employee and supervisor. Each supervisor had to initiate their own plan to introduce what we call lean into our workplace. Now, lean was a methodology that was created by the Toyota production systems. It was a way for them to produce higher quality products faster with less waste and inventory. Um, each, I decided to use a initiative within lean called 6S. Now, the 6S stands for sort, set, standardize, shine, sustain, safety. The plan was to ensure that everyone had what they need without constantly leaving their work area, um, and to get rid of outdated things that were not in use. Basically, at the end of the day, it was a place for everything and everything in its place. This would improve productivity, and also by having these teams, I would have supervisors engage with their employees. I'm going to show how I'm going to tie this into the concepts we learned this week. More specifically, how leadership and management skills were used to lead team members, how performance concepts were utilized based on the needs of my team, and how project management concepts impacted my team. First, I'm going to talk about how project management concepts impacted my team. This project at first was difficult, as it was a culture change and shock to our whole building. Ways that we have known of doing things before now are being upended, and introducing these lean concepts into our building. I felt by using these 6S's, we can use this as a standard to roll out to other floors and to the receiving department, etc. To fully understand this project, though, I'm going to specifically use the project management triangle. And the three things of those is scope, time, and cost. First thing was scope. Uh, First, I had to establish a goal. What was my expected goal at the end of this project? What did I hope to achieve? I'd hoped that this project would reduce or eliminate employees' frustrations. Where is these products? Where do I find this? Constantly having to leave my work area. The employees would have everything that they needed and have to travel minimal distance to get to it. The scope, again, was small, as it was just one floor that we were focusing on, but it was large as the implications could be large, because we could roll this out potentially to the whole building. Time time was in essence because we always I didn't want to take too much time away from productivity, but I also wanted to set time to meet with my team. I proposed to my boss that he allows me 3 months to complete this project, which he was on board with. This helped me not to rush anything, and to also let me hold constant meetings with my employees. Cost cost was not so much a factor. It would be kept at a minimum, as again, we weren't buying new items per se, small items like placards, etc., but mostly just utilizing what we have, and introducing new ways of putting them on the floor again, so the employees wouldn't have to travel a long way to get to them. Planning was essential at the beginning. I chose 10 individual. Those 10 individuals were always assigned to that top floor. This was a clear. This set up a clear path to success. Rushing into the project would ultimately lead to overall project failure. Um, I want to talk about how leadership and management skills were used to lead team members to clearly convey uh, my leadership and what I expected of these 10 individuals. I utilized the diagnose, adapt, and communication method. I drew upon my personal referent power, to lead my team. I consider myself a hands-on supervisor. At the end of the day, the biggest thing was their success was my success. Their failure is ultimately my failure as a leader. Diagnosing. By utilizing the 6 S's, I was able to diagnose what the potential holdups in my area were. Again, I'm tying these 6 S's into these concepts. So the first step was to sort. We were sorting through all the excess stuff. We were sorting through what the potential holdups were, etc. Uh, it also, by diagnosing, it also helped to set up the open up the door for dialogue between my employees and I. Adapt. The 6 S's wasn't the only thing we were trying to accomplish. The project was also about finding ways to better foster better work relationships between employees and supervisors. So as supervisors, we would have to find new ways to adapt to supervising as there was new processes in place. Communication was important. It was more important for me to actively listen to my employees. Again, I wanted to empower them to make these changes. I didn't want to just dictate and micromanage. Team performance concepts that were utilized based off the needs of my team. Excuse me. I again chose 10 individuals that were regularly assigned to this area. If this was a success, as I stated earlier, we can roll out similar ideas to the other 2 floors. I identify mostly with being a executor. However, in this case, I needed to be more of a flexor. And I was the leader of my project, but I needed to, be the creator, the advancer, the refiner. Uh, but I also wanted to empower my team to be that as well. My team were coming up with creative ideas. They were advancing ideas. They were refining those ideas, and ultimately, they're the ones on the floor, so they're the ones executing it. Delegate. I wanted to, as I stated earlier, I wanted to empower my employees to feel like they were the ones actively taking a part in this project. They were the ones working this area. They knew what the holdups were. The PEP cycle. This really came into play at the beginning. When we first found out we had to do this, panic initially set in. We never knew anything about lean. I didn't know what it was, so I immediately freaked out. What am I going to do? How am I going to get these individuals to buy into this? Mind you, these individuals from all different ethnicities, all different age groups. The elation finally set in when I picked a team of 10 members that constantly work on that floor. And then the panic set back in was, how are we going to do this? What's the time? What's the cost? How am I going to, if this is a success, how am I going to get the other 30 plus employees to buy into this? At the end of the day, the project was a success. I thought it was a success. Um, it improved productivity. It fostered better employee-supervisor relationships. It seemed to roll out to other floors, the receiving department, the transportation department, the shipping department, all were able to utilize these 6 S's. And at the end of the day, I also wanted to celebrate my team's success. I wrote a project review and report, submitted it to the director of operations, let him know what the hiccups were going forward. In conclusion, I hope that I gave you guys a little bit insight of my project, how I tied the 6 S's into the concepts we learned this week, how I utilize team performance concepts, leadership and management skills, and the team performance concepts. Thank you for watching this video, and I appreciate any and all feedback. Thanks, guys.